Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important example for template driven form related to states, that is enabled versus disabled state. So by the end of this session, you will be able to understand when the enabled state will occur, what would be the scenario where the disabled state will trigger. Okay, so these are all things we are going to discuss in this particular session. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to use enabled and disabled state. But prior to that, you should know what is the states, why do we use it, and what are the basics of a template driven form. Okay. Alright, and for the sequential content, you can refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. So from there, you can find 3000 plus free resources that is available in both Hindi and English language. So as per your convenience, you can refer the content. Fine. So now we are good to start with the session. So here you can see, firstly, I have noted down one main heading. Currently, I'm in app.component.html file, and main heading is showing Angular course by Sharmit. After that, we have second heading that shows the topic name, and today's topic name is template driven form example in Angular for checking enabled versus disabled, and maybe you can write it here as state, enable versus disabled state. Now to demonstrate this thing, what we will do, it's from its name, it's clear what it is going to do. Enable means when user is allowed to enable input or write input, right? And if it is disabled, then user is not allowed. So to demonstrate this thing, what we will do, we will simply create one form. In that form, we will take one input as a, let's say, username, and then we will try to see how these trigger will turn on and what would be the default value and all the basic stuffs. Okay, fine. But before that, there are some prerequisites. What are the prerequisites? We are sure that we are going to use forms module. Why? Because if you are using ng forms, so forms module is required. So let's go to app.component.ts file to define the required thing first. So we will go to app.component.ts. Here you can see I have noted down forms module, which is imported here as well. And ngif, although it's in this example, I'm not going to use it, but if you want to use it, you can keep it like this, ngif, so that if you want to use any conditional statement, then in that case it would be useful. But for now, I'm not going to use it. Fine. But we have imported it. So both the things are imported. Now we are good to write the further logic. So for that, what we will do, firstly, we will add one horizontal row here, maybe two horizontal row, so that we can separate out the form with the actual heading. Now after this horizontal row, horizontal row is just a simple horizontal line which will separate out these heading with the actual form. Okay, now after this horizontal row, what we will do, we will create one form. Okay, and in this form I will assign the template reference variable which is my form equal ng form. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now as we have already imported the forms module, that is why it is not showing any error. Otherwise it will show you the error. Okay, but we have already imported the forms module, that is why it is not showing any kind of error. Now after this, what we will do, we will add one label here. So just simply add here label, and in this label we will mention the title of the field which we want to declare. So we want to declare it as username and colon. Okay, then what we will do here, then we will add one input field, and in input field we will mention other required thing, whatever things we want to define, like type, name and everything. So let's define one by one. Firstly, the type, which is text. Then we will write here name would be username. Then we will write here ng model. Then we will write the template reference variable for this ng model. So username ctrl. Okay, and then we will write here ng model again. Perfect. And after this we will mention here disabled. So for that you can use this square bracket. Inside this we will write disabled. And this disabled can be defined with the help of one method. So here I will write is disabled. Okay, right now it is showing error because we haven't declared it, but later I will declare it, so it will not show any kind of error. Okay, so let's save it. So it will align it like this, and now we are good to write the further logic. So for that, what we will do, we will add two break lines here, br. Okay, and after br we will mention one button here. In button we will simply mention the defined things like type and everything. So like write like that button, and also we will assign one method name is toggle. Perfect. This method is also not defined yet, that is why it is throwing error. So we will define this variable as well as this method. Now this method will help us to just toggle the things from enable to disable. Okay, fine. Now what we will do here, I will write is disabled question mark, then we will write here enable input and colon disable input. So what it will do, it will basically help us to define the title. Like if the value is disabled is on, then in that case if it is off, then we will show enable input, otherwise we will show disable input. That I'll show you practically, but right now it is showing error because we haven't declared it yet. But after this button, let's add few more important thing, and then we are good to define the required thing. So let's add p tag just to show the values. So I added the p tag. Here I will write disabled. Okay, and in disabled we will write the value of disable from username control dot disable. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Likewise we will add the second paragraph, and this paragraph is mainly for enabled colon double curly braces, and here I will write username control dot enabled. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now we are done with the HTML part of code. Now it's time to define the required thing like toggle, which is nothing but a method, and also the variable that we are using here is disabled. So let's go to app.component.ts file. Here firstly I will define the variable that is disabled, and remember it should be in the same case, otherwise it will throw the error. Fine. So I define false. Then we will define the method. So method name is toggle. Okay, and here I will add the curly braces. Inside this we will write this dot is disabled equal not this dot is disabled. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now let's see if there is any error. No, everything is okay. Why? Because we have defined the all required thing. Now it's time to run this application. So ng serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will show you the output in the browser mode, and from that we will verify the output. So you can see currently it is showing the main heading as Angular course by Sharmit. Then we have template driven form example in Angular, checking enabled versus disabled state. Then we have one username is field, and currently it is showing disable input. Why? Because it is conditional, as we mentioned the logic, right? So it is showing disable input, and disabled is false and enabled is true. So currently, like if you write something, it will take the input, right? But if I click on this disable input, so now it is showing enable input. That means if you want to enable it, you can click here, but currently you can see disable is true and enable is false. And also you can verify it. You are not allowed to type it here, right? So from this button we are just checking whether from this button we are just toggling between the enable state and enable and disable, but here actually you can see how it is working. If it is enabled, then only it will allow you to write to something, otherwise it won't allow you. Clear? Here also you can see. Fine. So this is the overall process to utilize this states that is enable versus disable. So I hope this session is clear to all of you. Still, if you have any question, queries or suggestion, please help me to reach out through comment section, and then I'll try my best to share the answer of your questions. Okay. So that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching TechSharmit.